Welcome to a dramatic interpretation of A Court of Thorns and Roses. This shall be recited from my memory, which is not good, and I have not read the original one in like a year. We open on a scene similar to the opening of one may say Twilight. A deer fawn type animal is drinking from a lake or eating from a bush, I can't remember. But again, this is not accurate. This is from my brain. We find our young hero. She has mousy brown hair, possibly, and is dressed for the winter. I think it's winter. It might be autumn or summer. She's dressed for a season. She has a bow facing said animal. Her family is hungry. She needs to feed them. Her family, as we find out, used to be rich. I have a similar feeling. We once had Sky TV and could watch Disney Channel. Then my dad got rid of it, so then I missed out on how Hannah Montana ended. Maybe not the same thing, don't quote me. Her family were rich. Her dad was a trader, possibly. But he lost all the money on a deal that, like, his cargo got lost at sea, and her mum also passed away. So they had this big mansion. All of their rich friends turned their eye, and now they live in a little shack. His leg got battered by a loan shark, so he can't find anything. The older sister is too prim and proper to be doing anything, and the younger sister is too naive to also be making money. So this falls upon the middle sister, who we will call Farah, and is called Farah. She is aiming for the deer, and she hits it, or she gets distracted, or both happens, by a beast. And she recognises the beast to be Fair. Or maybe she doesn't yet. But anyway, she aims for the beast instead because she believes the fur will keep them warm, or she can sell the fur a lot more sellable than the deer fawn. She hits it, kills him. Oh, and upon closer realisation, he turns into a man? Maybe? Or she takes the fur and he doesn't turn into a man yet. Well, how can we know? She goes home. She goes to the village. There is so there is a thing called fae. And many years ago there was the fae are like a higher powered being. They have magic. They can do different things. And then there is the mortal realm world, where it's all the same world, but mortal area, humans. Many years ago, I believe 500 years ago, humans were slaves to the fae. Then there was a big war, and then the humans were split, so the land is split. A wall was built, and the humans lived under the wall, and the fae lived above the wall. And that is split into courts. I'm not even... Okay, I need to speed this up. Okay, so she goes home. No, she goes to the village trying to sell or buy something. And there's these people called the Children of the Blessed who, like, are obsessed with the fae. Kind of like how in Twilight there were people who were obsessed with the the vampires, so they... Even though they knew they could get killed. But anyway, these people have never actually met a fae. They just love the fae. Kind of preaching, but she's like, ugh, hate fae. They are, they can kill you. They apparently hate humans. So yeah, she goes back home, and then there's a knock at the door, and there's a big man who looks like a beast. And he's like, you murdered my guy, actually. So the wolf thing she killed earlier on was a fae. And by decree of the fae, I can either kill you right now, or you can come back and serve fae for the rest of your life at my manor because you killed one of my guys. And she's like, would hate to serve, but would probably be better. Plus, if they can't kill me there, I'll be safe maybe? So she goes with the big hairy man. who ends up being called Tamlin, and he is the High Lord of the Spring Court. So the Fae world is split into courts. There is Spring Court, Autumn Court, Summer Court, Winter Court, Day Court, Dawn Court, and Night Court, I think. And then there is also a place called Under the Mountain. Now, Under the Mountain is where many people are being kept prisoners because there was a king of Highburn, and he had an apprentice, or has an apprentice called Amarantha, and she hates humans. They all hate humans, and she has taken power. I don't know. Anyway, so she's at Spring Court, and she's kind of scared of this guy. He has long hair. He looks like Rhett from Rhett and Link. Is that one Rhett? I don't know which is which. And then he has a little side man who helps him out called... Ooh, what's his name? Oh, that's really escaped me. Anyway, and he's got a metal wearing eye. And he's ginger. But he is originally from the Autumn Court but his family are all horrible. So now he's at the Spring Court. Anyway, she's kind of learning about it all. Everyone at the Spring Court also has masks glued to their face because Amarantha had a ball and like duped everyone to go in there. And I think the Spring Court... Oh no, so she wanted to get with Tamlin and Tamlin denied her. So like to get back at them, I think she did this ball and then actually said a masked ball, and everyone in the Spring Court, she did a spell and now everyone has this covering their faces. So she actually doesn't know what anyone truly looks like in the Spring Court. They've all got this mask on their face. Anyway, there's also like a religious spiritual ceremony to do with the Spring Court, which I believe is to do with the longest day of the year, or the start of, I don't know, because it's always spring, summit. And she goes, and he's like, you need to stay in your room because this can get pretty goddamn weird, and also I want you to be safe. And they're a bit closer at this point. She's kind of seeing he's like a normal guy, really, and she's like mesmerised by how it's always spring and the powers and everything. And she goes to this thing. Well, she sneaks out and goes because she's like, actually, I want to see what's all happening. And she goes, and then these guys try to like, they're a bit like, what are you doing here, lady? And then this other guy comes and he's like, actually, you're gonna leave. Actually, fellas, let's not do it. But he's still quite intimidating, and he has dark hair. And she's like, whoa. But she's like, this guy is an arrogant prick. And then anyway, so she's like back at the house. Tamlin, I think, bites her because he gets really charged up and he's actually meant to mate a female. Not mate, but like have, do stuff with this a woman at the ceremony, and that's the point. And she was like, ew, but also like, why is it not me? And then a few days pass, probably weeks, and then she goes to... And then the guy who like made those men leave come to find her, and he's like, I know you got a gal here, and she gives a fake name, Claire, of, oh my god, the wind, a Claire who is just a normal girl from her village. And then he can actually read minds, he can go through your mind and also destroy your mind, and he ends up being called Rysand, and he is the Lord of the Night Court, and he is an evil man, very ruthless. Tamlin's like, get the hell away from my lady. Anyway, I need to speed this up because we're actually nearing the end. Nothing's making sense. So, what happens? How does she end up? She ends up going back home for some reason. But she finds out that, Amarantha put a curse on the people, and the only way to lift the curse, so the curse with the masks, is if he ends up finds true love in someone who truly hates Fae. So he would send his men out to the mortal world in hoping they'd get killed by a human woman, and then obviously would take her back and make her love her, which is all a very bit weird, and she's sort of moved by it but not, I don't know. So she obviously killed his mate, so all his friends would have sacrificed themselves for the curse to be lifted. And then, but she couldn't quite be like, I love you, so she left. because he had to go under the mountain where Amarantha's got all these other people there. Ryzen's actually under her command. He's like her little like sex slave boy, which is like a lot of traumatic things happen with that and him. Anyway, so she goes back home. But then she hears that Tamlin's actually been captured by Amarantha. So she's like, I'm going to go back and save him, even though I'm a mere mortal and these are all fair. So she travels through the wall, goes blah, blah, blah. Anyway, gets to under the mountain, immediately captured, immediately overpowered, and sees on the wall a girl being tortured, and it is Claire, because that is the name she gave Rysand. So Amarantha went to find Claire and has now got her here because he believes that Claire is the one that Tamlin loved. Tamlin is like sitting next to Amarantha, not speaking. He's like her little pet. Anyway, she makes a deal with Amarantha. She's like, and then Amarantha makes a deal with her, I don't know, saying, if you do all these tasks, I will let you free and let Tamlin free and everything will be fine. And she's like, deal. And then she's under the mat, and then she's gone for the first task, which is where she has to defeat this big worm thing. She ends up doing it. And then the second task is a reading one. Also, like, she's battered, she's starving, they're not treating her well. Ryzen goes to see her in the cell and is like, I'll make you a counter offer. If I help you through these trials, I'll do something for you. Look, I don't know, look after you maybe. You have to then come to my gaff 2 weeks every month, or a week every month, and come to the night court and do whatever. And she's like, oh, deal, fine, whatever. So then she gets marked upon making a deal, because you get marked when you make a deal. Anyway, gets to near the second one's reading, but she's actually illiterate. She's never learnt to read. But Lucian, that's her name. Lucian, Tamlin's side man, who's also there, helps her out through that, because it's like to do with him as well. I don't know. And the third one is she's got to kill 3 innocent people, or 4 maybe. So she does the first one. She does all of them actually. Does she? I think she does the first 2. And she's like really struggling with it. The last one is Tamlin. Also, this whole time there was a riddle. If she solved the riddle, she didn't have to do any of this. And miraculously, at the last moment, before she has to kill Tamlin, she's like, the answer is love. Because it's like what cures all or something. And then Amantha's like, actually, you didn't do it in time. So she ends up killing her. Well, she like cracks Feyre's body and she dies. And I was like, no. But then someone goes for, I think, is it Ryzen kills Amarantha? I don't know. And then all the High Lords of the court like bring their powers together to heal Feyre because she sacrificed herself so much for something. I don't know. She did something good, maybe. And she ends up being reborn as a High Fae and holds all powers of the 7 courts. And that's where the book leaves off. But she's still got that deal with Rysand. So she's back to the Supreme Court, but she's got that deal with Rysand. I promise the books are better than I've described. But yeah, and then it goes on to this whole, oh my god, her family's safe though. Her family comes into the next one.